Shalom, salam, hello, this is Jess D. And today I would like to share with you a novel that I've been working on called The Intercessors. My pen name is J.D.Blackstone, and you can find this on Wattpad. So I will leave the link if you would like to go ahead and read it. I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 1 for you. So like an audiobook type of vibe. And if you'd like to continue reading, just go to the Wattpad link. So The Intercessors, it's a Christian novel, and it's technocratic, it's conspiracy theory, it's psychological thriller, mystery, suspense. So it's along that lines. So what is it about? It's about a 32-year-old tech skeptical Aria Peres, that's her name, the main character. And she's been spiraling mentally, right? Ever since her God-fearing grandmother went missing over 20 years ago. But when Aria receives an anonymous online message, she believes she's discovered a technocratic shadow organization that hunts Christians. So if this sounds interesting to you, again, check it out. I'm going to go ahead and get started with Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is called I Will Find You. And it is from the POV of the character named Gabriel. There's not one thing I hate more under all of the heaven and earth than a so-called God-fearing Christian. They have reverence for a higher power who lacks a human body or any recognizable form for that matter. It's asinine. Actually, it's juvenile. Like believing in Santa Claus. At some point, we're all expected to just grow up and realize that there is no chimney-hopping, red-nosed, overweight man leaving our heart's desires underneath a terribly decorated living room tree. No, he doesn't exist. Our parents tricked us. Everyone, and I mean everyone, knows. So what is wrong with these Christians? When will they grow up, realize their error in judgment, and join the ranks of those of us who have proper reasoning? Today is Monday. It's early morning, too early to be at work. What can I say? I love what I do. I'm standing in the break room, nearly glued to the coffee machine, waiting for it to dispense my first burnt brew of the day. Admittedly, I like my coffee black and strong, but with the level of innovation this organization utilizes, you'd expect burnt coffee to be a thing of the past. Unfortunately, 2 colleagues walk into the room and interrupt my idealistic ruminations. A male and a female. Don't think I've seen them before. Neither bothers looking in my direction. The man opens the smart fridge about 10 paces from me and reaches inside to grab a plastic food container. The woman sits at the break room table in the middle of the room, stainless steel tumbler in hand. She takes a quick sip. My supervisor told me. They're saying he defected, the man says. He stands in front of the smart fridge door, wide-eyed and loose-jawed, watching it close on its own. That never gets old. My ears drown out the coffee machine and tune into their conversation, trying to decode the cipher. She watches him toss his food in the microwave as she rapidly rotates her tumbler counterclockwise 90 degrees. I don't know. She dissonantly taps the lid. It honestly sounds impossible. They thoroughly screen prospects for this type of thing. Yeah, true, but sometimes people fly under the radar, or they just fake it. You know what I'm saying? He rebuts. What? You mean like they pretend to be normal, and once inside they start acting all... The woman says as she frees her hands from her tumbler and gestures erratically in front of her face, tilting her head mockingly from side to side. What are you doing? He chuckles. Good question. What is she doing? She cuts her eyes at him. You know what this is. It's how they all act once they get saved, she says, throwing up air quotes as she says saved, or whatever it's called. Seriously, cannot imagine it. I can't understand how someone like that could have the audacity to try to work here, knowing they'd eventually be found out. Sounds like a death wish. The woman stands up from her seat and walks over to the smart fridge. She looks at her reflection in the metallic chrome refrigerator door, smoothing her blonde bun. It is a death wish. The coffee machine stops thumping and steaming. Finally, it makes a clicking noise. My coffee is ready, and most certainly burnt after losing myself in their conversation. I grab my brew from the drip tray, exit the break room, and head back to my cubicle. I try not to replay their conversation in my head and tell myself, their business is their business. If it pertains to me, my supervisor will let me know. My cubicle is toward the front of the floor, with the break room in the center. The entire floor is full of cubicles. I pass by a guy who catches my eye. His desk is cluttered with humanoid robot busts and heads. He spews expletives while tinkering with the parts. Further down the pathway, there's another guy wearing a VR headset. The transparent OLED screen on his desk reveals he's in an apocalyptic urban landscape VR simulation, hunting Christians. He jumps up from his chair, throwing his hands above his head. "Score!" he yells. Everyone on the floor within earshot looks in his direction. The organization calls those of us that work for them enforcers. Doesn't matter if we're from Italy, China, Bahrain, Mali, we're all enforcers. And although we're all working on different assignments, we all have one common goal: eliminate clerics. Clerics is what the organization calls Christians these days. We picked it up from our British counterparts back in the 70s when our Americas branch was instituted. Honestly, I don't remember when my disdain for clerics began. Can't really pinpoint when my abhorrence for them took root. There's no tragic story that made me this way. All I know, I'm not alone. There are others outside who share this sentiment. Statistically speaking, we cleric haters are the majority now, and we cleric hunters have the technology. Sure, there's still a large percentage of the populace that swing neutral, but the neutrals will pick a side, eventually. No one can stay lukewarm forever. I've chosen my side, and I'm standing 10 toes down to the day I die. Because everything that I am, the life I live, the career I have, I owe to the only organization in the world that's actually taking action to get this pandemic under control. I'm living my life's purpose. How many people can wake up day after day and say that? Those of us fighting for this cause are truly the fortunate ones and the brave. I sit in my cubicle chair, swig my burnt brew, and wave my hand in front of my sleeping transparent OLED screen. The screen recognizes my handprint and wakes up. The assignment completion report I was working on pops up on the screen. I glance over the areas of the template that are still empty. The only information I filled out before my coffee break was today's date. I really do need some coffee. Okay, let's knock this out, I say encouragingly. Name, Gabriel William. Location, NYC branch. Project name, Clerics Elimination Initiative. Classification, a short disruptive ding disrupts my concentration, followed by a synthetic female voice emanating from the transparent screen speakers. You have a new message. A new email message pops up, opening on its own, overtaking the assignment completion report. That never happens. Emails don't just open on their own. I disregard my better judgment and read the subject line. Do not delete. There's no sent from address. Eyes glued to the screen, my mind goes blank. An unfamiliar feeling of hesitation comes over me. Why am I hesitating? I'm former military. I don't hesitate. But I do remember. Reluctantly, I recall that moment I did hesitate. And it cost me everything. A few months ago, the worst day of my life, when my bravery was tested and my life was ripped from me. Stay present, Gabriel, I exhort myself. The past is the past. There's no time to reflect and engage in a one-person pity party. Taking a deep breath, I refocus on the mysterious email. The body of the message is empty, but there's a video attached. I click on the video. Why? Because I'm military trained, and whatever is in that email can't be as bad as what I've been through. The video plays. Black screen. The unintelligible voice of a woman murmurs. I lean closer to the speakers to see if I can hear better. No use. I reach into the top drawer of my desk, grab my earbuds, and turn on the wireless connection. Much better. The audio reveals the sound of a whimpering child. Seconds later, visuals. A young boy, no older than 5 or 6 years of age, in a room dimly lit with a fluorescent light overhead. The walls look dingy, maybe soot-covered. The boy's lying down in a reclining medical chair, his arms and legs strapped down to the chair with zip ties. What kind of sicko does this to a child? Another person comes into the frame, a woman. I'm guessing she's the one who was talking at the beginning of the video. Her hair is blonde, pulled back into a severe bun. She's petite, fragile, looks like she couldn't harm a fly. Through a low and gravelly tone, she asked the child, "Do you know why you're here?" He doesn't answer. Shallow breaths cause his chest to rise and fall erratically. Her small frame leans in closer to him. Her face mere inches from his. She repeats the question. Only this time, her voice is deeper, darker, ominous, cursed. "Do you know why you're here?" Sickening fear tears through my gut. A scowl on her face, she holds a piece of paper up in front of him and points to some handwriting on it. "Does this look familiar?" He doesn't react. "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. Watch and guard me through the night, and wake me with the morning light," she says in a sing-songy voice. "You should have listened to us. Now you will lie down to sleep." She throws her head back and laughs, her body doubling over. After a minute, she stands up straight and readjusts her button-down collar. "Forever," she says. Tears stream down his cheeks. "I want my daddy." His voice trembles. I sit in disbelief watching the footage. As much as I want to close the video, I can't. I'm not programmed to run from fear. The camera zooms in on the boy, capturing his bloodshot, petrified expression. He presses his back into the chair and tries to kick his feet. "There's no use in trying to escape," the woman taunts. The child's tangible fear engulfs me. The woman walks over to a small concrete counter in the room. Looking him in the eyes, she slowly opens an aluminum alloy briefcase and turns her attention to the contents inside. She pulls out a syringe and a vaccine vial. Inserting the needle into the vial, she fills the syringe to its capacity and removes the needle from the vial, placing the vial back into the suitcase. She walks back toward the boy and threatens him again. He sobs uncontrollably. Her face is now visibly red from the neck up. "I don't have time for this," she says. She grabs his tiny forearm and jams the needle inside. The video ends. "Damn these clarets!" I let out a hushed yell. My hands start to shake. My heart pounds. I can feel the blood rushing to my face. Wrath washes over me. I'm powerless. I want answers. I rip the buds from my ears and slam both fists on the desk. The transparent screen sways back and forth. "I dare you to fall." The person in the cubicle next to me stands up from their chair and gives me a look of disapproval. I couldn't care less. I take a deep inhale, a poor attempt to recompose myself. I reread the email. This time, I notice something. Text near the bottom of the message. It says, EPH 612. What does that mean? I open a private web search page to find out more. The organization will know, but I don't want this search altering my personal algorithm. I type the cryptic letters and numbers into the private search bar. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. I skim the AI summary at the top of the page. The armor of God? I can't get caught doing a deep dive in Claret lore. I quickly X out of the video, the email, and the web search. Who sent me this video? Gabriel. My supervisor's voice interrupts my thoughts. He's standing right behind my chair and places his hand on my shoulder. I swing my chair around to face him. How long have you been standing there? I asked, trying to gauge the situation to see if he saw me on that web page. His eyes narrow. Not too long. He raises one brow, pursing his lips. I've just been watching you. I stare at him with a blank expression, heart pounding ferociously behind my ribcage. Okay. I can take a hint, brother. He suppresses his laughter and smirks. He moves from behind my chair toward the side of my desk. What's a sit rep, boss? I pivot to face his direction, hoping the swift motion will relieve my flushed face. He toys with the rubber edges of a tablet case. Gabe, you've been closing on some incredible cases, he rattles off. You know we appreciate all you do for the organization, and we know it hasn't been easy for you these past few months with your recent loss. We didn't let you get enough bereavement time. I keep my cool. Work is good for me. Keeps my mind occupied. The tablet screen catches his attention. He stares down at it for what feels like an eternity. That's why I'm here, Gabriel. This assignment is important. He points to the tablet screen, pausing for another second, then re-engages eye contact with me. We've been tracking this particular Claret group for decades. I recalibrate my posture and sit up tall. Have I been assigned to it before? He shifts his weight from one foot to the other. No. That's why the higher-ups insisted I bring you in on this case. Okay. I want to assure you, we recently introduced a new agentic AI software to monitor the subjects and predict their future actions with an unprecedented high level of accuracy. A gentle smile slipped past my defenses. So this should be a cakewalk. He looks down at the tablet, shifting his weight again. Not exactly. It hasn't been easy taking them down. This group is different. I raise one eyebrow. Different how? They're protected. He chokes on his words. Both my eyebrows rise. What do you mean, protected? He rattles on again. We've been tracking them for decades. Their numbers seem to multiply, so it's been difficult confirming all their affiliates, but with you plus the new agentic AI, I'm certain we can eliminate them. All of them. Impatiently, I grab the tablet from his hand and look at the digital profile pulled up on the screen. The picture on the file is of a woman. Young-ish, attractive, guarded. She's different from my previous assignments. Somehow, I can sense that. Look, the mission is almost complete. Yes, this Claret group has been extremely problematic, but we're not giving up. We're pivoting, he says. I keep staring at the woman. My blood starts to boil again. These people are nothing but trouble. Sure, I wouldn't have a job without them, but the world would be a safe place without them. There's just one last descendant. He points to the tablet in my hands. That's her. With your track record, well, we just know you're the man for the job. You're laying it on kind of thick, don't you think? His nervousness is replaced with a calm grin. See, that's why you're the one to get this job done. You've always been able to see through me. I stop staring at the woman's picture and hand my supervisor the tablet. He lifts his index finger into the air. One last thing. She needs to be eliminated before she turns 33. Why so specific? The cleric group she's descended from? It's an intercessory prayer war group. Like I said, she's protected. No, I scoff. She's human. You've got 1 year, he adds, turning to walk away. And what happens if I can't eliminate her by then? That's not an option. I understand. Consider it done. A new assignment. That's just what I need, though. Another assignment will keep me from ruminating about life and help me decompress. But why is he so anxious? This woman really has him spooked. Who is she? And what really makes her cleric group so different from the others we've hunted? Because I'm not falling for the whole "they're protected" rhetoric. Footage from the video flashes in my mind. The email! My computer fell asleep again. A tense wave of the hand wakes it. The email is gone. Nowhere to be found on the computer desktop or in the inbox. No way of telling if the organization swiped it or if the sender designed it to vanish once viewed. Probably for the best, because I swear these clerics are no different from any other cult out there that sacrifices children to their god. They truly believe they can just intimidate everyone, especially a child, into believing in their fairy tale sky daddy. It's maddening. What type of god are they worshiping? What I wouldn't give to wrap my hands around the neck of one of those clerics. One thing about me is I'm determined, and I'll get the opportunity soon, very, very soon, because I will find you. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 1. That's from the POV of Gabriel, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that. If you would like to follow along as you read this chapter, I will leave the link again to the Wattpad so you can read the chapter, and follow along with the audiobook. Or if you would like to just continue with the series as well. So please leave any comments that you have, or questions that you have. I would love to hear your thoughts about chapter 1. Okay, thank you so much for listening. And I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Ahaya Asharahaya Bahashem Yasha Warawak Kwadash. Shalom.